Yeah. What's up with y'all, boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here, continuing to cook up and break down some of this NBA action. Welcome back to Jay's NBA Jam Session, man. New week, new goals, new opportunities. Last week is last week. It was what it was. It be what it be. I'm just saying that because I lost yesterday, man. Damn. Not funny, but it's, hey. I had a good day in the NFL yesterday, but the NBA did not go the way I wanted it to. Yesterday, I had my NBA game of the week, the most money I had put on an NBA play thus far this season. I had the Cleveland Cavaliers laying 6.5 points, man, and they won the game by 5. Super, super frustrating. They had the lead the entire game. You know, they were up by like 15 at certain points in that game. I thought they were going to coast to a nice double-digit win. I was sadly mistaken. So all I could do was move on to the next day, man. I do apologize, I guess. Try to be better. We move on to today. But overall, it just wasn't a good NBA day for me yesterday. Raptors got beat up by the Mavs. The Mavs actually decided to show up and do something. I cashed with the Nets, believe it or not, early in the day, the first game on the board. San Antonio shouldn't have been laying that many points. They're a good team, but expecting them to win by 12 plus 11.5, whatever the line was, it's kind of crazy. And I had one more loss yesterday. My other loss in the NBA yesterday was the Timberwolves, the House of Disappointment. There's a reason we call them the House of Disappointment. Whenever we expect them to do something at home, they almost never do it. So I felt like all the reads yesterday were good reads, just wrong result. So I'll try to be better, man. I'll try to be better. I'm just here to let you guys know my thoughts, opinions, and how I see today's action playing out. We got a really good card day on Monday. I got a good amount of games bet today. So if you want those, you can scoop them up over at Pickdawgz Premium, including my NBA Jam Session play of the day. I am 3-3 on that play thus far this season. Link for all that in the description below. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. Link for that in the description below. But, man, it's Money Making Monday. Again, new week, new goals, new opportunities. New opportunities. Let's start the week off on the right foot. Let's make some money today. And without further ado, man, let's hop right into tonight's NBA action. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get her done. First game on the board. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers out on the road facing the Detroit Pistons. Pistons, 2-point home dogs in this one. I see I messed up the graphic, man. It's Monday. Bear with me. Look, Cleveland, they were my game of the week yesterday. Unfortunately, they did not cover. They were laying 6.5. They won the game by 5. I still feel like it was the right read. They were up by like 15 at certain points in that game, controlled that game, just failed to cover in the end. So it was what it was, be what it be. Looking to bounce back today. I'm going to fade Cleveland today. I'm going to take the Detroit Pistons. Looking at like the last 13 matchups between these two, Cleveland has won 12 of the last 13. The Pistons won the most recent one. Cleveland had beaten Detroit 12 straight times. Again, the Pistons won the last meeting last year to end that streak. We saw the Pistons grow up before our eyes last year. The Pistons are not the same team, I believe. They got beat 12 straight times by Cleveland. And I think tonight at home is a good spot to take them. I don't like the spot for Cleveland on a back end of a back-to-back with travel. Detroit's on a back end as well of a back-to-back, but they were at home yesterday, so no travel, shooting the same rim, same gym. This should be a fun, competitive game. These are the spots where I like the Pistons, and I think points in your back pocket or attacking the outright money line is a really good place to be here in our first game of the day. We'll keep it rolling. Next game up. Got the Orlando Magic out on the road facing the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers 5.5-point home dogs, total 226.5. Orlando's been disappointing ATS thus far this season. Tonight's the night I think they beat up on somebody. I'm going to take the Magic. I'm going to lay the points. I still can't get Philadelphia out of my mind for who they were last year. Last year, they were the worst ATS team in the NBA. We made so much money fading Philadelphia. It wasn't funny. And through 2 games, man, I felt like they've been quite lucky, if you just want me to be completely honest. I think that luck runs out tonight. I think Orlando matches up really well with Philadelphia defensively, and I don't see Maxey, Edgecombe, Grimes getting as busy in a game like this as they have in the first two. I think it starts defensively with Orlando. I think they have a good night defensively. I think they end up winning this game by like 8, 9, maybe even double digits. It's just a good correction spot. You know what I mean? Orlando is head and shoulders the better basketball team. 0-2 ATS, Philadelphia 2-0. I think things come back to reality on a Monday. I think Orlando wins this game comfortably. We'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong. But give me the magic. Play the theme song. We'll see what happens. Keep it rolling. Next game up. We got the Atlanta Hawks out on the road facing your Chicago Bulls, man. Atlanta's a 1.5 point road favorite. Total 242.5. This is a game I'm not in love with by any stretch of the imagination. Atlanta's been confusing, and so have the Bulls. I don't really know who either of these two teams are through, 3 games thus far this season. This is a game I will have no money on today. If I'm just playing a spot, playing a situation, I kind of would lean towards Atlanta. I do think Atlanta's the better basketball team. I think they've played. I don't think we've seen the best of Atlanta yet, and I think tonight might be a night where we see that. I think Chicago's kind of played above their pay grade. I think Atlanta's played a little under theirs. And we'll see if today's a correction spot for both of them. The line makes me nervous with Chicago only being a 1-point dog in this one. I'm going to lean towards Atlanta, though. I'm going to lay the points. Not a game I'm rushing to bet, though, by any stretch of the imagination. We got the Rockets laying 15.5 on the Brooklyn Nets. Total 225.5. Terrible spot for Brooklyn on a back end of a back-to-back with travel. Third game in 4 nights. Rockets come into this game with the rest advantage. Rockets are a different team, monster and animal at home at the crib. Rockets should beat up on Brooklyn. This should be a wire-to-wire ass-kicking, a blowout winner. So I'm going to take the Rockets. I'm going to lay the points here in this one. It's a lot of lumber to lay, and I know the Rockets haven't been great ATS thus far this season, but it's still super early, and I just don't think Brooklyn will have anything here in this one. Give me Houston. I'll lay the points. Keep it rolling. We got the Celtics out on the road facing the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans laying 2.5 here in this one. Total 233.5. Boston has not looked good thus far this season, man. They feel overrated and overvalued, in my opinion, still. I'm going to take the Pelicans. I'm going to lay the points or take them straight up on the money line here in this one. I think it's a good spot for New Orleans. New Orleans feels a little underrated, a little undervalued. New Orleans could easily be 2-0. They were beating the Grizzlies and kind of let that game go. Their first game of the season. Tough ass, though, to beat Memphis in Memphis. And then they came home and played the Spurs, who had just blew out the Mavs. Wemby was looking ungodly, or godly, I should say. And Pelicans fought them hard, took them to overtime, lost, but they covered in that game. The Celtics, back in of a back-to-back with travel. They lost to the Pistons yesterday. It's going to be their 3rd game in 4 nights. They're not playing well. When you see the Celtics lose to the Knicks, the Sixers, and the Pistons 3 games in a row, that should tell you a lot of what you need to know. And then again, you put the spot on top of that. I think the Pelicans are hungry. I think the Pelicans get this one at home. Boston is missing a lot of key pieces, man, that made them who they were. Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. I feel like there's a couple more pieces. Al Horford, guys like that made them who they are. And I want to continue to fade them, at least right now. Give me New Orleans. Straight up on the money line or lay the points here in this one. We got the Raptors out on the road facing the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs laying 5.5 here in this one. It's a tough one. This is a tough one. Toronto is on a back end of a back-to-back with travel. They lost to the Dallas Mavericks yesterday. It was a good game up until second half. Second half, the Mavs kind of woke up. Looked like the Mavs, a lot of people expected the Mavs to be, They had struggled mightily through 2 games. Raptors just got caught in a bad spot yesterday. Now they have to travel to San Antonio. San Antonio played yesterday as well. They played the Nets. They won the game by 11. They failed to cover. Line was 11 and a half, 12 and a half. I still want to take the Raptors here in this one. Argument can be had. The Raptors are still the better team. Not a great spot for them. That's why I don't want to bet them in this one. But I don't think the Spurs are 2 possessions better than the Raptors. I don't. I know Wemby's been playing out of his mind. I know the Spurs have looked good thus far this season, but I don't think they're 2 possessions better than the Raptors. I don't. So, not a great spot for Toronto. That's probably why I won't end up betting it, but I do think they can keep this one close. And I honestly think they can win this game outright. So, small lean for me on Toronto plus the points here in this one. Keep it rolling. We got the Dallas Mavericks at home at the crib with the Oklahoma City Thunder buddies, the defending champs, rolling in. Total 226.5. I'm on Oklahoma City. I'm going to lay the points in this one. Don't like the spot for Dallas back end of a back-to-back. No travel. They did win their first game of the year yesterday, beat the Raptors. I still can't get those first 2 games of the year out of my mind, though, where they were terrible offensively and defensively through 2 games. They were the worst team in the NBA, offensive rating and defensive rating. Like, they did look better yesterday, but I think this is a bad matchup for them, at least right now. Later on in the season, it may be a favorable matchup for them, but I think not having a point guard, I think the Thunder apply a pressure that the Mavs just won't be able to handle right now. The Thunder come into this game with the rest advantage. Look up the numbers for the Thunder with the rest advantage this season. Last season, man, they were extremely profitable. This is a Thunder Buddy style spot. Don't like the spot for the Mavs. I'm going to take Oklahoma City. I'm going to lay the points here in this one. Got the Phoenix Suns out on the road facing the Utah Jazz. Phoenix land 1.5, total 230.5. I don't really like the spot for Phoenix, man. Utah looked good in their lone home game. They beat up on the Clippers. They fought hard in their last road game as well. Phoenix, man, I don't know what to think about Phoenix right now. I don't know what to think about them. I'm going to take the Jazz here in this one. The Jazz, if you know me, if you've been an OG here on the Jam Session, you know we've loved betting on the Utah Jazz at home over the past few seasons. We chilled last season because they just weren't a good basketball team. But because they were so bad last year, I think that has them underrated and undervalued this year. I've liked what I've seen from Utah thus far this season. And just putting these 2 teams on the floor just based on the eye test thus far this season, I think the Jazz should win this game, especially at home. I think they should. So there's a reason the line looks the way it looks. I'm going to lean towards Utah getting the points or outright money line here in that one. Timberwolves, Nuggets. Nuggets land 5.5 on the road. Total 229.5. Timberwolves, man. Anthony Edwards' game time decision. That's what's tough about this game. We know the Nuggets always struggle with Minnesota. So with that being said, with or without Anthony Edwards, I like the Timberwolves here in this one. The Timberwolves were just equipped. They were built to beat Denver. We've seen that play out over the past couple seasons, man, and I think it holds true here. I don't want to be laying multiple possessions on the road with Denver on Minnesota just based on their history. I don't want to. Even without Anthony Edwards, I think the Timberwolves at home can do enough to keep this game competitive, if not win it outright. So I love Denver against pretty much every team in the NBA except for Minnesota. And Minnesota is in the classic bounce back spot after what they did yesterday. It was a really good spot for them to take the Pacers behind the woodshed, and they did not do it. Classic house of disappointment spot yesterday, and I fell for it. But is what it was, be what it be. This is the type game they bounce back and shock the world, mess around, win it outright just because they hate the Nuggets. We'll see what happens. Give me Minnesota plus the points against Denver and a sprinkle on the money line here in this one. Next game up, got the Memphis Grizzlies out on the road facing the Golden State Warriors. Warriors, 8.5-point home favorites here in this one, total 239.5. I don't really like the spot for the Memphis Grizzlies. This is their first road game of the season. They've been comfortable at home. They also didn't play the best competition at home during that stretch. Indiana, who's banged up, Miami, who's likely a bottom tier Eastern Conference team, and the Pelicans, who are likely a middle of the pack, bottom tier Western Conference team. The Warriors are top of the pack, alpha style team. And I think this is a bad spot for Memphis having to play them in this specific spot. First road game of the season. Golden State, I think this is a good bounce back spot for them. They lost to the Portland Trail Blazers in their last one. I'm not going to take too much from it. That was a bad spot for the Warriors in that game. Back end of a back-to-back with travel following an overtime game, third game in 4 nights. The Blazers head coach had just got fired, so they were playing for their new head coach, Tiago Splitter. It just wasn't a great spot for the Warriors in that last one. Overall, though, I have liked what I've seen from Golden State thus far this season. They're a different team, monster and animal in Chase Center, and I think tonight they beat up on Memphis. We'll see what happens. I'm going to lay the points with Golden State here in this one. Last and final game of the night, we got the Portland Trail Blazers out on the road facing the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers 2.5-point home dogs, total 226.5. I think the line kind of tells you what you need to know here. Lakers played well last night. They played above their pay grade. Austin Reeves with a 50 burger, but on the back end of a back-to-back with travel. I really don't want to touch them. I think this Blazers team is better than people would think. We've heard Minnesota come out and say, okay, you got to hoop against the Blazers this year. You've heard the Warriors come out and say, okay, well, you can't just overlook Portland. While they're not in Portland where they're stronger, they're on the road, and the Lakers were one of the best home ATS teams last year. Again, I don't like the spot. No Luka, no LeBron, and the Lakers coming off, that game yesterday. So Blazers come in with the rest advantage. They're favored in crypto for a good reason. Last and final game of the night, I'm going to take Portland. Lay the points. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all. I appreciate each and every one of you that continue to tune in, watch this show, and watch these episodes that I continue to put out. As I always say, all I ask is that you smash the like button for me. You subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as I always say, man, if you're rocking with me, rock with me. I'm active on Instagram and Twitter all day long. There's a link for both in the description below. And of course, I have premium plays over at the site. Yesterday was not the day I wanted it to be. Been completely transparent about that. Looking to bounce back today on a Money Making Monday. New week, new goals, new opportunities. Really good card tonight, man. I just broke it down. Let you guys know my thoughts and opinions. But the plays that I personally have the most money on are over at Pick Dawgz Premium. Hop on something long term, man. Heaters right here on the horizon. I feel it. It likely starts today. If you believe me, you believe me, man. Let's do the damn thing, man. It's been your guy, Jay Briggs. Appreciate y'all more than y'all know. See y'all tomorrow. I'm out of here. Peace.